All right, so who are we at SWI? We're a faith-based organization with the principal aim of igniting the success power within people with emphasis on the youth. That's why you see that we started our meetings with prayer, and one of our goals is to ensure that you're a success. And I mean, through our breakfast meeting, you'd see that we teach on different topics. We bring thought leaders, people who are professionals in what they do, who know what they do, who know their onions, right? If you see our speaker for today, this is an excellent communication coach. We also have we have different programs that we run through the year. We have the Project Smile, we have Breakfast Meeting, we have Upskilling School, we have Teenagers Boot Camp. We have a program coming up soon. I don't know if I'm allowed to talk about it now, but we have Project I Lead coming soon where we're going to be speaking to teenagers. But our goal is to ignite the success power within people. We know that everybody has the ability to be successful, to be great, to be globally relevant. And our goal here is to just bring out that person in you. Our vision is to raise people of outstanding success for global relevance. We don't play small. We understand that we have a global father. I mean, God is someone who is not just resident in Nigeria, right? So why not why not be like our father, right? So we need to be globally relevant. And our vision is to raise people who would succeed globally. For our core values, we have an acronym tag SPEED. We have spirituality, we have synergy, we have passion, we have exemplary lifestyle, we have excellence, discipline, and diligence. For all of these core values, you'd find them in every SWI Exco. One is, yeah, we're Christians, we study our Bible. We're not just Christians by religion, but we're actually believers. You'd see the synergy amongst us in when we relate and when we execute task projects. You see that, we're very synergized. We're passionate about everything that we do. We don't just do things because we want to tick the box. We do them because we're actually passionate about them and we believe in what we're doing. Exemplary lifestyle. You find that most of us here are living the life that we're preaching. We're not just telling you things to do. Most of the things that you'd hear are actually practice things that we've seen give results. Excellence or excellence in all that we do. You won't find any of us doing things shabbily. We'll do them with all the excellence. We're disciplined and we are very diligent in what we do. What is our mission? Our mission is to help nurture youth for creativity and excellence. We want to bring out that creative part of you. We want to ensure that you're excellent in what you do, and partnering with God and you, we would help to nurture that. We want to teach youth God's way of success because we understand that there's the world's way of success and there's also God's way of success. But where our goal is to teach you God's way of success. We want to help youths discover their talents and purpose beyond, what's that thing that God has put within you, right? For your community, for your generation. So we want to help you discover that. Our goal is to raise an army of people who will take over the economy positively and want to help people ignite their potentials. So this is what you need to know about SWI. Thank you for joining today's breakfast meeting. And very quickly, I know that our speaker has been on the call from the very beginning. So if you came in after the speaker, you deserve to be sanctioned. But anyways, mercy covers us. So please help me welcome Isaac Chide. Hi, Isaac. Sorry, hi, Chide. Over to you.
Hi, good morning,
Hi,
everyone.
good morning.
Please confirm that you can see me clearly.
Yes, we can. We can. Thank
Awesome,
you so
awesome.
much for
Can see
joining
my
us.
pastor. You can see it
Hi,
clearly.
Pastor T. Max. I'm very excited to be here. Yes, I've been here from the very beginning, trying my best to remain a fly on the wall because for all the times you were saying, let's speak up, let the energy in the room go up, I was like, should I speak? Should I not? But I said, you know what, let me take my time, be a fly on the wall, and really, get to see the energy in the room. And I can tell the the liveliest people in the room, but don't worry, by the end of the class, everyone would have gotten their chance to speak. I tried to confirm earlier how much time I have. Can you confirm to me how much time I have to
Yeah,
take?
you have 45 minutes.
45.
And if you want to take the entire day, would be glad to have you.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you very much. I also want to know if I can go ahead and share my screen. Can
Yes,
I?
yes, you can. You can
Hey,
share your
someone
screen.
else is sharing.
Oh, okay. I need to stop.
Awesome. So
All right,
share.
yeah. Yeah, you should be able to do that now.
Hey, please confirm you can see my screen.
You can see your screen, Mrs. Nwabuchi.
Oh my goodness. So quick one. I got married in February. And so I've been wrapping my head around, oh yes, my surname has changed. Okay, yes, I have a new surname. And so the flyer just carries Chide Isaac. But yes, my slides have my full name. The pre-class workbook has my full name. Pastor Timax, thank you for announcing me before I announce myself. My name is Chide Isaac Mwabisi. I'm a finance professional. I'm a public speaker, a public speaking coach, and also an event host. This is one of the things I love to do the most in the entire world. Teaching what I know, teaching what I'm learning, teaching the word of God, anything that gets to put me in front of people to teach them what I know fires me up like nothing else. So today I'm very excited to be here taking public speaking 101, communicating with confidence. First thing I want to ask is a show of hands if you received the workbook and you went through it and answered the questions there. Please, show of hands if you received the workbook and you answered the questions that are in the workbook. Sweet Star Ekundaya says he has his hand raised. Oluwaseun said she received and answered. Awesome. Thank you, guys. Now, you may wonder why. Why did I need you to go through that? Why did I need you to look at that workbook and answer those questions? Well, the answer is simple. Many times we gather knowledge and pile it on top of what we already know without questioning the knowledge we already have. And so I really wanted to know, I wanted you to look within. Again, you don't have to share your answers with me, except of course if you want to. But I wanted you to look within to ask yourself these questions. How do I currently see myself as a communicator? Yes, Success Within International has said they are putting together a public speaking class for us. Oh, I love it. I probably need it, but do you really? You see, we all know the phrase, if the purpose of a thing is not known, abuse is inevitable. One thing I also say is, if you do not really know for certain why you need something, if you once you have it in your hands, you cannot really see the value of it. And so asking yourself, how do I see myself as a communicator? If your answer is, oh, I think I'm great at this, then you're probably in this class just to see what else she has to say. Oh, I'm a learner. I'm always open to learn new things. So let's come to class and see what she has. Or your answer is, that's one thing I really want to improve upon. And so you're in class today to say, help me, teach me what you know so that I can improve my public speaking skills. Or maybe you're not even interested in public speaking. You just really wanted to be here for the icebreakers and for PT Max. And now you're just listening with one ear and doing other things this beautiful Saturday morning. It's all good. Everybody is welcome. The second question I asked was, what do you fear most about public speaking? For some people, their major fear when it comes to public speaking is, what if I don't know what to say? For some, it's, what if I stumble on my words? And yet, for some, it's, what if I freeze? And that is very real. For everything that each person worries about, it is real. The third question I asked is, if you could change one thing about how you speak or present yourself, what would it be? I know that when I was trying to build my own public speaking skills, at the time, I didn't realize I was building my public speaking skills. At the time, I just knew shyness wasn't working for me anymore and I needed to change it. What I feared the most was living an insignificant life. And it will shock you to know I was barely 9 at the time. So here's my quick journey through public speaking, right? I was in primary school. I was a smart kid, always top of the class, top 3 at the very least, always getting gifts on prize giving day, representing my school in quiz competitions, never representing them in debate competitions because I would not even answer a question in class unless nobody else is answering the question and the teacher keeps asking, then I will answer. This is me who would always come top 3 in class. And so I was in primary 6. I know that I would always admire the debaters. If depending on the school you went to, in primary school, secondary school, they usually do this thing where they would have debaters come up on stage during assembly to give a quick debate or a quick speech. I think that was part of preparing them because my school took extracurriculars very seriously in primary school, secondary school. I went to the same school, primary and secondary, nursery, primary, secondary. And so they would bring them on stage and you see these tiny children. I was in primary 6 at this time. So you see primary 3 students, primary 4 students, they'll come up on stage, speak so confidently, and I'll be like, oh my God, I wish that could be me, but that's not me. And then everybody was convinced that I would be one of the prefects when we get to primary 6. And so I was convinced myself. Everybody felt she'll be library prefect because she's quiet. I'm saying I would not speak to anybody in class except my seat partner. My seat partner is the only person in class I would speak to. That's how introverted and shy I was. And so primary 6 came, the first week or the second week of resumption, my teacher sent people for prefectship exam. Lo and behold, I was not sent for prefectship exam. It blew my mind. What do you mean you're sending Princess and Linda for prefectship exam and you're not sending me? These people are like top 15 in class. I am top 3 in class. Why are you sending them for prefectship exam but not me? And the only reason I could figure out in my mind is because I sit at the back. I would typically sit at the back, like next to the door, next to the wall. That's where I would sit, at the back with the boys. These girls were sitting in front, first row. When the chalk falls down, they pick it up. Yes, I was in primary school when we're still using blackboard. Maybe you can begin to guess my age. And they would pick up the chalk when it falls down, dust the board for the teacher and all of that. And so they were her natural pick for prefectship exam and I was not. So I told myself when I get to secondary school, first thing I will do is find the debating club and join that debating club because I figured in my mind, that is one way I would improve my ability to speak in front of people. Got to secondary school, first week of resumption, according to what I had decided, I found out where do I go to register for debating club. They said English department, went all the way to admin block. See, let me just say, I went to Nigerian Navy Nursery Primary Secondary School. The school was big. I was in JS1. I was just coming out of shyness. I walked by myself all the way to admin block, found the English department, went to the teachers, stood up to them and told them exactly why I was there, what I wanted. And they said, oh, the debating team is not functional right now. Put down your name. And I did and left there. Before that time, during the holidays, what I did was, before then, I would typically walk through the bush rather than walk on the road if there are people on the road. I'm saying this is the walkway. Maybe a group of guys are right there on the walkway gisting. I would rather go walk on the lawn or something than walk through there. But this time, after primary 6, during the holiday, leading up to secondary school, I would intentionally walk in their midst. Of course, in my head, I'm saying, Chide, you're going to fall. Chide, you would trip. Chide, you would stumble. Chide, you would... And my head is banging, my hands are sweating, but I would do that. Because I figured if you're going to go from this extreme to the middle, how about you try to push to the other extreme, then you land in the middle. And I did all of that. Eventually, the whole of first term just one went by, no debating. The debating club was still not functional. And then end of the term came, we had social week. So social week is that 1 week between end of exam and results where nothing is happening in school. Day students are typically not coming to school. It's only boarders that would always be in school, but then some day students whose parents will never let them miss school, e.g. myself. And so the social prefects typically will put together activities throughout that week. And so I went to the social prefect. Remember, I was still in JS1. I went to the social prefect, who was a student in SS3, to say, hi, my name is Chide. I want to know if I can give, if there will be debating in the social week. And she said, no, there's no debating in the social week. I said, okay, can I give a speech? She said, yes. And I went home and told my dad, Dad, they asked me to give a speech. I need you to write a speech for me. Up until a few years ago, I could still remember some lines clearly from that speech, but for some reason, it's gone all the way back. I'm sure if I give it some attention, I can call up that speech because, oh my goodness, I memorized it till it was in my spirit, not just in my heart or in my mind or in my brain, in my spirit. You could wake me up from sleep and I'll begin to churn it out exactly with the hand gestures my dad had taught me to do, exactly with the movements my dad had taught me to do, how to go back and forth, how to use my hands. My dad taught me all of that. And so D-Day came. We were in the dining hall. They had called up different acts for the day. Just before me, they called up a dance group. How do you call up a dance group just before someone who's coming to give a speech during social week? Everybody is bored, they need entertainment, and then you're putting dance just before me. It would be like climax and then deep. But then I told myself, all this was going through my head. And then I told myself, Chide, you've got this. You have the speech down, you have the actions, everything, you're gonna do great. A lot of pep talk was involved. I'm explaining all of these things in this story because I will explain to you later how I did a lot of things without realizing what I was doing. You know, there's what psychologists call unconscious competence. Someone who is competent unconsciously. You're doing the right things, the things you need to do, but you're not even conscious of what you're doing. Of course, there's also people who are unconscious, incompetent. They are incompetent and they're unconscious of it. There is the conscious competent, the person who's competent and conscious of it. And then there's the unconscious competent, right? And so I did the whole pep talk in my head. Dance group finished and then they called me up. I came up. Now, my elder sister was also in SS1 in that school. She had just transferred from another school to this school. She had done just 1 to 3 somewhere else. And then she was a new student in SS1 at the same time I was in JS1. That is important for later. So I come up stage because I'm giving myself this pep talk and I'm used to, if you want to get to the middle of the road, you're on one extreme, want to get to the middle of the road, try push yourself to the other extreme, then you land in the middle. At least at that time of my life, that was my mindset. And so I remember I was about 10 years old at this time, JS1. And so I came up, I told the social prefect, can I do it without the mic? I think my voice is loud enough. Of course, my mom had always told me, your voice is too loud. You have, between you and I, don't let my mom hear. She used to tell me I have frog voice. So there was that subconscious thing in my mind, which was part of why I never liked to speak anywhere in class with friends. I didn't even have friends, so what is with friends? That's why my seat partner was the only person who would typically hear my voice, and then if nobody else in the class knew the answer, then I'll raise my hand and answer the question. So there was that. Now what I was trying to do was, this my so-called frog voice that is too loud. I believe I have a loud voice. Perfect. Can I do without the microphone? My voice is very loud. Part of the reason why I wanted to do without the microphone was I had my speech. The paper that had my speech was in my hand. I had squeezed it in my hand for 2 reasons. Again, this was me being unconsciously competent. 2 things that does for you when you have your key points. In this case, it was the entire speech, but typically your key points, 2 things it does for you when you have it in your hand. One, it gives you a sense of comfort that you have backup. Worst case scenario, if I forget my lines, I can open up this piece of paper and quickly get my bearing, then continue. I would advise never do that, but at least that's something to tell your subconscious to calm you down. That's something to tell yourself to give you that sense of, oh, I have backup. And so that's one thing that was doing for me. Second thing it was doing for me is with anxiety, having something to squeeze in your hand helps while you're speaking. Of course, this is rudimentary. As you grow in your public speaking skills, you want to grow out of having something in your hand. But at the very basics, or at the most basic level, that helps give some comfort. Having something in your hand to squeeze to take in the anxiety and the nerves. That piece of paper was serving two purposes for me. So I really wanted to still have one hand free to do all the hand gestures my dad had taught me, but the prefect insisted I needed to use the mic. So I grabbed the mic, said everything. One line I cannot forget, even till now, when I say I've forgotten most of the speech, I can't forget in my mind. That's like midway through the speech, and that was like a switch moment where I was switching to another section of the speech. I will try and remember this speech because it's a pivotal moment for me. So I went ahead, gave my speech, and believe it or not, once I was done with my speech, I got a standing ovation. I was 10 years old. This was my first time speaking in public. I chose to speak to a hall full of secondary school students who were bored in the middle of the space between end of exam and results day. I gave a speech just after a group of people had danced, and I got a standing ovation. And then one guy came out, he was my sister's classmate. Remember I mentioned my sister was also in the school, ASS1. And he came out to me while everybody was clapping for me. And he came close and he was like, "You are Grace Isaac's sister." I said, "Yes." He was like, "Wow, you did so great. Well done." And he shook my hand. And I will never forget it because at that time, I had a crush on the guy. So it meant a lot to me. Yeah, I knew him because he was my sister's classmate and I'd seen him from going to her class. So yes, I had a crush on him. So it was many great things at the same time. This is me doing so great with my first public speaking opportunity. This is me getting a standing ovation. This is me getting a handshake and a well done from this guy I'm crushing on, this senior. It was all of that for me. And what that did was to convince my mind that I'm great at this. There is nothing that helps you build success like success. One success will help you breed more success. And so this was success on a huge level for me when it came to public speaking. Can you imagine what happened to my confidence after that? Bring on any speaking opportunity. It's me. I am here. I do get standing ovations. So you can bring it on. And so this story, I chose to start with it because it shows you clearly that I was not born a public speaker. I was not born with public speaking skills. Maybe I had it inside me somewhere, but I had to dig it out. I had to push myself. I had to put myself in front of people. When I tell you that I had a fear of stumbling and falling, it was real because I was a very clumsy child growing up. My mom would always tell me how I was super clumsy. So growing up, I used to walk like, put my leg inside each other. So stumbling it do happen a lot. And so it was a real fear. I didn't overcome it overnight. I did one thing after another, pushed myself one step after another until I got to the point where I became comfortable and confident with public speaking. Please confirm that you can still see my screen.
Thank you so much. We can still see your screen. But please, can you put it on presentation mode so it's closer?
It's still not on presentation mode. I totally thought I put it on presentation mode. Apologies. Is this?
Mm-hmm.
It's on presentation mode now, right?
Yes, it is. It is. Thank you. Thank you.
Very much. Also, please, I like my classes as interactive as possible. Feel free to drop a comment, an emoji, anything in the chat box. And when I ask questions, please interact with me because even though we have 45 minutes, this class can be what starts you on that journey to improving your public speaking skills. Getting right into the material I have. My first question is always why, right? Why do I like teaching public speaking? At the risk of sounding cliche, it's because public speaking changed my life. Think about the business people who have the most impact. It's the ones who actually are able to share their story. Think about your favorite people. You love them because you know their story. You love them because you've heard them speak. Being able to share what's on your mind with other people makes the difference, a huge difference. And so I like to teach because public speaking changed my life. Now, turning that question to you, I want to ask you, why do you think this class is important for you? Please type in the chat box. Why are you here in this class? Why didn't you drop off the call immediately you were done with the games? Why didn't you drop off the call immediately I was being introduced? Why are you staying on for this class? Please, I want responses. Just let me know in the chat box. Why are you here? Do you want me to call someone up? Because I will. I can. I have all the right to. I've been told by the people who invited me that I can do and undo. Oluwaseun says, I'm interested in speaking better, working on my points. Very important, very important. These are things that we will talk about briefly today, because more than just knowing what to say, it's important how you say it, how you carry yourself. There are little things that, of course, I cannot teach in this class, like put your head this way, do your hand that way. Of course, we can't do that in this class, but how you say what you say is just as important as what you say. Paul says, I have so much ideas and things to say, but I find it hard to organize my thoughts and speech. This class will help you. I believe I'm here to learn how to speak and share my ideas and stories. Very good. I want to be able to sell my ideas with so much power, poise, and confidence. I love that. Let me get right back into my slides. Now, next thing I want to ask is, do you believe that behavior can be changed? How you are now, how you behave, the things you like, the things you don't like, the things you like to do, the things you don't like to do. Do you believe behavior can be changed? Paul says yes. Adenike says yes. I believe also that behavior can be changed. If nothing else, this story I just told you about myself is a story of changed behavior, because you see, how you speak is a series of behavior. What informs behavior? You know, as humans, we talk about nature versus nurture, right? Do you behave the way you behave because that's how you are, that's how you were born, that's how the genes that created you have formulated you, you know? Is that why you behave the way you do? Or is it because of nurture, how you were raised, the things that happened around you while you were growing up, the things you've come to believe? I believe how we behave has a lot to do with nurture, right? The child who does not like semo probably grew up with a mom who didn't know how to make semo and so hated semo. Or maybe the first time they ate semo, they were not feeling fine, so they threw up, and so they associate semo with throwing up. No semo slander in the comments, please. There are several reasons for why you behave the way you do, but it's all nurture. It's a matter of the things that have happened to you. One reason why I was shy and would not speak in public was because I was told that my voice was too big. I had frog voice. I'm sure my mom can't even remember she ever said it. And she said it once, but it stuck in my head for all those years. One of the reasons why I couldn't speak in public is I had been told I was clumsy. So if I was clumsy with my feet and my hands, of course I would be clumsy with my words. At least that's what I thought. And so how you behave, how you speak rather, is a series of behavior. Maybe you speak with a very low voice. You think you speak very low just because that's how you are. Or maybe it's because you were copying how your mom spoke when you were growing up. Maybe your mom spoke in very low tones, and so you copied her while you were little. Now you just know that's how you've always spoken. You speak in low tones, and that's just how you are. Or you speak in very loud tones. Your voice is high. You speak in a very high-pitched voice. And you think, no, now that's just how I speak. That's how we speak in my house. Well, that's it. That's how you speak in your house because that's where you were raised, and that's why you speak the way you do. Now, one thing I like to tell to my public speaking students is this. When it comes to how you speak, nothing about how you speak is bad in itself. If you speak too fast, that in itself is not bad. If you speak very slowly, that in itself is not bad. If you speak in a very high-pitched voice, that in itself is not bad. What is bad is the monotony of it. The monotony of it. I'll speak about that further when we get to the slide about pitch and pace. Next, for me, my favorite public speaker is Chimamanda. I have a few people who I love to listen to, who I think are great public speakers. I'm not talking about public speaking coaches. I have public speaking coaches, the ones who I pay and learn from, the ones who I just, watch their videos. I'm talking about public speakers who I love. Chimamanda tops the list because when she speaks, she's authentic, she is bold and in your face, not in an offensive way, but in a very authentic way. I love how she speaks. I love how she conveys her stories. Of course, she's a story writer, come on. I love how she shares her stories and brings you into whatever she's saying. I like to think of communication as painting a picture in the mind of your listeners, using your words to paint a picture in the mind of your listeners. And in my opinion, Chimamanda does that effortlessly. And so why do I have a picture of Chimamanda here? I said here on the slide, we cannot all be Chimamanda, or must all be public speakers. Typically, a few people recognize the pun in that statement, Chimamanda's speech, we must all be feminists. Yeah, we must all be public speakers. Don't mind me. Anyway, the truth is, whether you're going to be speaking to one person, which is maybe your potential employer in an interview, or your manager who is assessing you to see if you deserve the next promotion, or a crowd of 10,000 people, or just that one person who you're trying to preach the gospel to, we must all be public speakers. I say this especially when I'm talking to Christians. You cannot be a believer and say you don't want to preach the gospel. And if you're going to preach the gospel, talk to someone, then I bet you're doing public speaking. See, remember how Philip did not necessarily have all the information, but he had good speaking skills, at least, that's what Bible commenters, the people who write Bible commentaries, that's what they say, right? He had great speaking skills. He didn't necessarily know everything, but you see, with those his skills, he got people saved, got many saved, to the point where Paul came and said, you guys have believed. How far? The Holy Spirit said, we did not even know whether there be such a thing as Holy Spirit. And he had to, lay hands on them and get them filled. But Philip did the job of getting them saved first. And so, and again, this is me going off on a tangent, right? As a Christian, if you're a Christian, you first have no excuse to not be a public speaker. But then again, as human beings, generally, you will have situations where you have to convince someone of something, whether it's your mom to convince her that you need to go for that party when you were 13, or it's your boss who you don't realize you're being tested every day to see whether you're worth that promotion versus the other person who is already bringing in clients because of the ability to engage and be fun and exciting. Do you think I'm no longer introverted because I am able to speak to people and be fun and exciting. No, I am who I am. But the truth is, building your public speaking skills means you know when you need to bring out this character who is exciting and smiling and happy to be interacting with people. Know when to go under your duvet, grab a book, and just give a sigh of relief. We must all be public speakers. As human beings, we are built to live in society, in community, and so we must all be public speakers. Going very quickly into the nitty-gritty of what it means to be captivating as a speaker. Before I go into that, can you please drop an emoji, something in the comments to let me know you're still with me and I've not lost you. I'll wait to see 3 or 5 responses before I go on. Thank you very much. Thank you, Iniolua. I need more. I need more. I need more. Feed my energy. Thank you, Pelumi. Thank you, Modupe. Okay, very good. Let's go on. So first thing I like to talk about is rate of speech, your tempo. So for some people, they like to talk very fast and you almost not even know what they're talking about. They just keep going and going and going and you have to run to catch them. I don't know about you, but I know at least one person that talks like that. They keep talking like they're telling you a story and they've reached the climax of the story and they're trying to hurry up to the climax so that you get it. And if you use that as a tool while speaking, it's very good. But when that's how you speak regularly, that becomes an issue. There are also some people who speak super slowly. At first, you admire their calm and their ability to have everything together. But at some point, it becomes irritating and annoying. Like, why are you speaking so slow? Are you a tortoise? And so speaking slowly can be a good thing. But when that becomes how you speak always, it becomes monotonous. It appears to be flat. And so your audience cannot be consistently captivated with that rate of speech. So what is appropriate? What is appropriate is a mix, depending on the story you're telling. Typically, when you're getting to the high point in your story, you would rush your words and so you capture the people's attention, along, of course, with facial expressions, hand gestures, and all of that. When you want the people to pay attention, you can reduce your rate of speech to draw them in as well. All with your facial expressions, hand gestures, all of that. What's the second thing I talk about when I talk about presenting and being captivating to your audience? Is your volume, your pitch. My public speaking coach says something, and I like to use that example as well. Your voice is like a piano, a keyboard. It has several keys. How many people here know how to play the keyboard? Let me see your hand. Whether you are at beginner level, master level, intermediate, just let me see your hand. You know how to play the keyboard. Let me see your hands. Is there nobody? Nobody in this whole class? You said barely, don't worry. At least you can strike some keys on the keyboard, it's fine. Even if it is just that you know what the keys are, you can name the keys, that's something. Anybody else aside Ini? So only myself and Ini. Pastor T-Max, you grew up in church, you don't know how to play the keyboard? Wow, wow, wow. Music is art, right? What if I just press the key? It's still part of it. As long as you have put your fingers on a keyboard and you have depressed those keys and they made a sound, you will understand the example I'm about to give. Oh, Adebayo is actually learning. He has a piano. That's great. Think of your voice as a keyboard. Some people only know how to play on C. Some people may be Chide Isaac, but I can't tell for sure. But they only know how to play on C. So no matter what they want to play, whether it's Mary Has a Little Lamb, national anthem, whatever it is, only on key C. But the keyboard has many other keys that will give you higher tones and lower tones. And so what happens is if you tell someone who only knows how to play on key C to play on another key, they'll be scared because they're not really familiar with those keys, and so they're scared of playing on that key. Well, these keys are not scary, they're just unfamiliar. So when you tell someone, vary your volume, arrange your voice in such a way that as you are telling the story, you can raise your voice to a pitch that is high. They tell you, that sounds funny, that sounds fake, that's not me. Well, it's your keyboard. It's all yours. It's not fake, it's yours. You're simply unfamiliar with it. And so Bayo has a physical piano in his house and he's learning. Guess what? We all have a keyboard here and we need to be learning it. Think about it for a second. Think about your favorite public speakers. Think about how they use their voices. Think about how they're able to, while telling you a story or while explaining something to you, take their voice down so low and pitch it all the way up when they need to explain something. Do I catch your attention better when I raise my voice out of the blue? Do I catch your attention better when I bring my voice down to draw you in? The keyboard is yours. Learn it, play it, right? Moving on very quickly because we don't have as much time as I thought we would. Next thing is pitch and melody. Now that I have talked about your voice being a keyboard, I expect that it's not weird to you that I'm talking about your voice and I'm talking about pitch and melody. Melody, what do you mean melody? One thing I love about Chimamanda, I've said to you already that Chimamanda is one of my favorite public speakers. One thing I love about her is you can just listen to her talk. There is melody in her voice. I think especially for Nigerians, you have no excuse for your voice to be flat or for your voice to be monotonous. Maybe if you didn't grow up around anybody speaking any Nigerian language, you didn't grow up speaking any Nigerian language yourself, maybe I can excuse you. But really, I think if you are Nigerian, you already have an advantage in this regard. All our languages are melodious to the ears. You hear someone speaking Yoruba, there is just the whole high, low, drag, all of that going on with the language. Igbo, I think I really like the Igbo language. I'm not Igbo, just for clarity, but I love the language. I have picked up one or two words here and there because I really love how the language, it feels like when you're speaking it, you are forced to speak from your tummy. You cannot just speak from your head voice when you're speaking Igbo. You must speak from your tummy. You must open up your diaphragm to speak. I think also that speaking Igbo builds your confidence. There are some words you have to say that if you say it and feel like, I'm here, what's up? Maybe again, that's just me looking from the outside in because I didn't grow up with the language. I got to hear it, loved it, started learning it. I really love the language. But what pitch and melody is talking about is your ability to vary your voice such that the person listening to you will not get tired. That you can drag some words and then make some words really fast and then put in some melody there, vary the pitch, everything coming together. That's your pitch and melody. There is a lot you can do with your voice. Your voice is a keyboard. Keep thinking of your voice as a keyboard. Keep thinking about playing different keys on it. Keep thinking about playing different types of music on it. Moving on, we want to quickly talk about vocal image. Now, putting together these three things I just talked about, right? Rate of speech, volume, pitch, and melody. Can someone help me? This thing that shows me I'm sharing, it's coming down on my screen and I need it to go up because it's blocking my view. I don't know what to click on.
Okay, so you can click on it and just drag it. So
Okay,
just
click
tap
on
and
it and
get
drag
away
it.
from the screen. Is it working?
Okay, I can move it downwards. Why can't I move it upwards? Okay, I think it's fine down here. Better this way. Hello. Thank you very much. Okay, so your vocal image consists of first these three things: your rate of speech, your volume, your pitch and melody. Think about it. I grew up in the era where radio was still a thing, a major thing. And so I had radio presenters who I liked, radio presenters who I crushed on. Don't judge me. I'm sure every young girl from my generation had one or two radio presenters they crushed on. I had one. And so from their voice, one radio presenter I really liked was Joyce on Cool FM. She and N6 anyway. So Joyce is the radio presenter I really liked. N6 was the radio presenter I crushed on. When I first saw a picture of him, I was like, is this the N6? I'll take my crush back. But that's besides the point. Anyway, we had radio presenters who we loved. And for every person who you don't have a picture of them, you have their voice, like it or not, create an image of them in your mind. And so I had an image of Joyce I had created in my mind. When I first saw a picture of Joyce, I'm like, you don't look like Joyce. But really, that's who she was. And so vocal image tells you that people make judgments about you from your voice. The same way you can see a person, in your imagination, you think you know what they would sound like, and then you hear them talking, you're like, is that voice coming from that human being? Like, you're so tiny, why is your voice so big? Or you're so big, why do you have such a tiny voice? You're a big masculine looking man. Why do you have the voice of a toddler? You know, the same way we make judgments or build pictures of what people sound like from seeing them, we build pictures of what people look like from hearing them. Now, how does vocal image come to play when you are in front of people already? You're speaking in front of them. Guess what happens? Have you ever watched someone on stage who they looked the part, their bio was read before they came up on stage. They sounded like a very knowledgeable person and all of that. Came on stage, they look the part, then they start speaking and you can't reconcile the two. You're like, this person, how far now? Arrange. It's because people make judgments of you from how you speak. Everything should work in sync, right? How you look, how you speak. Sometimes one can be out of order. So when you're thinking about your vocal image, think about the fact that people make judgments of who you are based on how you sound. I'll ask you a few questions. Type your answer in the chat box. From hearing me speak, do you think I'm a smart person? Forget the story I told at the beginning about being top 3 in class. Just from hearing me speak, do you think I'm a smart person? I'm not seeing anything in the chat box. Okay. Nyolua says yes, thank you. From hearing me speak, do you think I'm a kind person? Do I come across like someone who is thoughtful and kind? Another yes from Unique. From hearing me speak, do you think I'm a wicked person? Because it's only Unique that answered. Maybe somebody else is sitting there thinking I'm a wicked person. From hearing me speak, do you think I'm a wicked person? I need answers. There are 23 people in this class. The chat box should be moving more than this. Nope. Inioluwa says nope. You don't think I'm wicked. But how would you know that? How would you know that I'm not wicked? You don't know me. There's nothing in my bio that speaks to what kind of person I am. I don't sound wicked. You see, that's the reality of life. People can judge you Nini says because I crack jokes. I'm not wicked. Okay, that's good. I'm not frowning, so I'm not wicked. Wonderful. This is wonderful. The reality is people make judgments about who you are from how you sound. Interesting thing is we don't make the judgments consciously. So you were not thinking about whether I'm kind or wicked when we were speaking, as you were listening to me speak. You were focusing on what I was saying. But when I brought it to the front of your mind, I asked you that question, you were able to draw from what you have in your mind, the conclusions you already made in your mind to answer that question. But there is really nothing you know about me that can tell you definitively whether I am nice, whether I'm wicked, whether I am smart. In fact, with the stories I told, it's not like you verified the stories, right? But you believe me because I sounded convincing while I was telling the stories. You think I must be a nice person because I've been smiling and my voice sounds nice to the ears. And so when you're speaking with someone, maybe at an event, you are networking with someone, you're not telling them, I'm a nice person, I know my job, I'm very good at this job I do. You are making small talk, but from how you sound, how confident you sound, how excited you seem to get to know them, you can show your excitement through your voice. As you vary the pitch of your voice, I can tell this person is excited to meet me. With how confident you're speaking, you are confident in how you're speaking, they are judging you that you're confident in life, you're a confident person. And if you are a confident person, you most likely are doing good with your job. And so naturally, the human mind makes all of these assumptions and judgments while you are not even aware. And so your vocal image matters so much in how you're perceived. You're a professional, you want people to take you seriously. Think about your vocal image. Are you just speaking and keeping your voice monotonous and then people are bored? And so they don't even know how good you are with your job, but subconsciously they've decided, this person doesn't even know what they're doing. Have you ever had a colleague who, when you first joined the organization, you looked at them as, who is this one? What's this one doing here? Do they even know what they are doing? Subconsciously, you have that thought about them, and then one day you stumble on their work, or your boss is giving them praise about how great they are doing, the great thing they did that is putting this company on the map and all of that. And you're like, hey, I would have never thought. I would have never thunk it. But that's the reality. They are the image they've projected, not just the physical image, but the vocal image they've projected is not one of confidence. It's not one of, I know what I'm doing. Good enough, they're working in a place where their work can show, or the boss gave them the chance in the first place to show their work. But many times in life, especially in today's technology age, you will first have to prove your worth by the words that come out of your mouth and how you look. Let's quickly move on. Next thing I want to talk about is the pause. How many of us here are scared of that silence in the middle of speaking? So maybe you're standing in front of a crowd or an audience, you're making a presentation at work. Subconsciously, you just cannot afford to have a pause or some silence. It will feel like, what am I supposed to be saying? What am I supposed to be saying? Okay, am I freezing? Will they think I don't know what to say? Please let me know in the comments. You have never thought to put intentional pauses while you're speaking. Please let me know in the comments. In Yolua, I have as in, I have intentionally put pauses in my presentations, or I have been in a situation where I was scared to be quiet. Oluwaseun says, I haven't thought to. Modipe says, nah. What if I tell you that being able to pause and just have a few seconds of silence while you're speaking is super powerful? Kolumi says, I most times fear that silence. But that silence is so powerful. Think about it this way. You are admitting here that you fear that silence. Majority of people fear that silence as well. Majority of people fear that silence. So think about it when you're on stage and you're able to welcome the silence and use it to your advantage, how you look to everybody else who is in the audience. They are thinking, this man must be confident too. He's keep making good use of silence and it doesn't even feel awkward. What happens when you pause is, number one, you give your audience the chance to process what you're saying. Yes, the human brain is powerful, works at the speed of maybe light and all of that. But the human brain also does a lot of filtering. That is how the human brain works, a lot of filtering. There is a reason why, as you are seated facing front, you cannot see anything in the periphery. You can only see what's in front of you. But if you become conscious of it and you're like, I want to see what's on the sides without turning my eye to look, you can actually calm down and then notice what's on the periphery of your view. In the same way, you can be in a room, you're having a conversation with one person, there are other people in the room speaking, you are not conscious of what they're saying. But if you decide, while you are still in conversation with this person in front of you, you want to also hear the other things being said in the room, now you are conscious of it, you will hear it. The human brain filters a lot to help you focus on what it thinks is most important in that moment. And so while you're speaking to your audience, their brain is processing what they think is most important and filtering a lot of other things. But when you pause, you give your audience the chance to process a bit more of what you said, rather than filtering more of it and just picking what seems to be most important. You give them the chance to process more of what you said. That's one. Second thing it does, it helps you catch your breath. Simple as that. It helps you catch your breath. Third thing a pause will do, it can help you when you want to draw in your audience. Make them think, what's she about to say next? So the pause in between your sentences when you're trying to just give your audience a breather to process what you're saying will most likely be shorter than the pause when you want to draw in your audience, right? You want them to wonder what's coming next. Why is she pausing? Why is he pausing? And you draw them in, then you hit that next big point, right? So 3 things you can use the pause to do. 1, give your audience the chance to process. 2, give yourself the chance to catch your breath. And 3, draw your audience in to that next big point you're about to make. Please, so I'm trying to figure out, I think I didn't catch the name of the person who has been facilitating. I want to say, please let me know how much time I have left so that I know how to manage the rest of my slides.
Okay, hi. Yes, you have about 10 minutes. My name is Olamide.
Okay, thank you, Olamide. So this is supposed to be practice time, and I'm thinking, should I run through everything? Then we do practice at the end. We're supposed to have 2 practice times in between. You know what? I'll run through, and then we'll do practice time at the end, so that at the end you practice everything we've learned together. So moving on. Next, I want to talk about crafting a great presentation. What can I do to put together a presentation that will capture the attention of people? Because if you communicate with confidence when you're presenting, it must mean that you are confident that what you've put together is a great presentation. First thing you want to ask yourself is what? What do I want the audience to know? Start from there. What do I want the audience to know? Of course, Simon Sinek says start with why. So that's a given, right? Even for my own slides, you see I started with why. Why is a given. But you've decided why you are doing this presentation. Oh, they asked me to do the presentation at work. My team did a project. This is the presentation. They chose me to share it with the larger team, whatever it is. Now, what? What do you want your audience to know? What is the main point? Is it that you want them to know, we did the project, we saved costs, client is happy, we made money, here's what we did. What do you want your audience to know? You have to start from there so that you're not blabbing and sharing what is not necessary. Second thing is, How do I want them to feel? This is one very important part of presentations because presentations are different from speeches, right? With speeches, people are more likely to naturally think about how they want their audience to feel. But when it comes to presentations, people generally do not think about how they want their audience to feel. They think only about information. I want them to know this. What do I want them to know? They do not think so much about how do I want them to feel. So if I'm doing a presentation about the project my team just finished working on, do I want them to feel like we are geniuses? I will tailor my information that way. You see, I'm a trained accountant. I studied accounting in the university. I'm ICANN chartered. And so I love numbers. I love how numbers can tell stories. But more than how numbers can tell stories, I love how numbers can tell any story you want them to tell. And so if in preparing the financial statement, you want the financial statement to say, hey, we are not yet making profit, or we cannot pay tax yet. You can do that. If you want the financial statements to say, our investors, can you see how we are making profit already? Bring your money, invest it here. The same books, you can do that. Think about your presentation in that way. Yes, there is the fact of the matter. What my team has done, what we got out of it, how the client feels. If what you want the larger team to see is that, how you want the larger team to feel is, you want them to feel like your team is filled with geniuses. Maybe you want to highlight in your presentation the part that each team member played and how that fed directly into the results your team got. If how you want them to feel is that this team is a money maker, we must give them whatever they need in this company, whatever resources they need, we must give them. Then play into the margin. This is how much we spent. This is how much we made. This is the margin. You want to compare the margin you guys made with the margin of the other projects that have been done in that company within that time period. How do you want your audience to feel? Let that be at the back of your mind as you prepare. Next question is, what do I want them to do? After this presentation, do I want my bosses to go and think, we must put at least 2 people from this team on the next promotion list? Do I want my bosses to think, this team must get a special bonus this year? Do I want my bosses to think, how many managers are coming from this team for the next promotion cycle? If the presentation is for investors, what do I want them to do? I want them to put in money, right? Let that thought be in your mind as you tailor the information you're presenting. It will affect what comes first. It will affect how the stories you will include in your presentation. It will affect how exactly you're putting that presentation together. So what have I said? For making your presentation, think, what do I want my audience to know? How do I want them to feel? What do I want them to do? It helps you to give them action points without literally telling them, this is the action point, go and do this now, right? Next thing, when it comes to your presentations, you want to ensure your main idea is front and center in your mind while you are preparing. Let your main idea be front and center in your mind while you are preparing. Even if you don't splash your main idea across the entire slide, you want to ensure all the slides come together to boost your main point. Why do I want these people to listen? Next is stories. I love stories. I don't know if you can tell. Maybe that's why Chimamanda is one of my favorite public speakers. Okay. Okay. I'm seeing this notice in the chat box. Please, let's take note. Stories, I love stories so much because, does anybody here know about what I just forgot the name of the story I was about to mention. The story where they gave a gift to Troy that was a horse, but the horse had a man inside. There is, why did I suddenly forget the name? Trojan horse. Stories are a Trojan horse. The story is the horse. The idea you're trying to pass is the man inside the horse. Everybody loves stories. Think about it. On Sunday, you're in church, your pastor is preaching, you are paying attention, or you think you're paying attention, but you're not really paying attention. But the moment they start telling you, let me tell you what happened 2 years ago, bam, your ears open, your eyes open, your nose opens. Like, everybody loves stories. And so stories will always be welcome. Let stories be your Trojan horse. Your main points, the points you want to pass, put them inside the stories. Tell the story and people will not forget. I'm able to share with you many different points around how to improve your public speaking just by the story I started in the beginning about how I was a shy kid and then pushed myself out of that bucket into the bucket where I'm now training other people in public speaking. Let stories be your Trojan horse. So whether it's public speaking, whether it's presentations, craft your message in a story format, and I promise you, more people will listen, more people will remember your points after the fact. Next, I want to quickly talk about speaking impromptu. That's one thing people fear the most. Oh my goodness, I don't know what to say. What do you mean I should come up? What do you mean you're pointing at me? How do you handle impromptu speaking? The first problem with impromptu speaking is anxiety, right? People recording stops. So is this the point where we exit and join again? Olamide.
No, I'm not sure who that came from, but I'll look into it now. But yeah.
Okay, so I can go on.
Yes, please. But we have about 5 minutes left. Glad.
So anxiety is not the problem. Anxiety is actually a good sign. It's your body pouring out more adrenaline into your body because, okay, something is about to happen. Typically, of course, there's the whole science behind it. How, as hunter-gatherers, when you see something that's dangerous to you, your body's flooded with adrenaline so that you can fight or run. But now in this age, you're not running from lions, you're not fighting lions or bears. But when you face a situation that is scary to you, your body is still flooded with adrenaline. Now, how you can use that to your advantage is to let it bring words to you quicker. So remember again, it's fight or flight. So you either stand and fight or you run. In this case, running will be when you freeze and you're just looking, oh my God, I don't know what to say. Fighting will be allowing that adrenaline to bring you words and you're just flowing and saying things. I want to get quickly to where we practice. So preparation is key, whether it is a prepared speech or it is impromptu. Preparation is key. But the question then is, how do I prepare for impromptu speaking? Well, that's where improv comes in, improvisation. It's one of the things I love the most and one of the things I love to do the most in class. So let's practice. The first improv exercise we're going to do is what I call your beautiful mind. I want you to say to yourself, I'm not in your room, I'm not hearing you, but say to yourself, my beautiful mind. If you think of your mind as this beautiful place where beautiful things are formed and you get to share those beautiful things with the world through your words, it helps you to be more comfortable with allowing your mind to do its thing. So for this exercise, you're going to allow your mind to do its thing. I need a volunteer. I need a volunteer that can unmute their mic and interact with me. We don't have a lot of time, so please, let's do this very quickly. Who? Alamde. Awesome.
Okay, I was about to go, but I think someone wants to. Modipa, you can go. Let me.
Oh, okay.
Odukwe.
Yeah.
Okay.
Good
You know
afternoon.
what? Let's do this. So the goal is allowing your smart brain work. And the technique is only one tab open. I'll explain what I mean. You're not going to think too much about what you're going to say. You're just going to answer me. So the exercise is called gifting. I'm going to give you a gift, an imaginary gift.
Okay.
I will tell you, here, I got this for you. Then you will open it and say the first thing that comes to your mind. Oh my goodness, thank you for gifting me a shoe, is the first thing that comes to my own mind. Don't plan anything in your mind. It must be what comes to your mind when you open the imaginary box, not what you're thinking now.
Okay.
And so, oh my goodness, thank you for giving me a shoe. How did you know I needed it? Then I will answer and tell you, I thought you needed it because for whatever reason, I come up with in the moment. And then it's very short and simple. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Hi, Modupe, how you doing?
I'm good. And
I
you?
got you this gift. Here you go.
Oh my God, I've been meaning to get this tab. Oh, thank you so much. How did you know I needed it?
Oh, I saw it somewhere. I thought this is Modupe's size. It will
Wow.
look great on her. Plus, I know your favorite color is pink, so I got it for you.
Oh, thank you so much. I don't
You're
even know what to
welcome. You're
place.
welcome.
Thank you.
Awesome. How did that feel?
Uh, I don't know. How do I describe it?
Okay, wait. Let's do the reverse. Give me a gift.
Okay. Sorry, what's your name again?
Chide.
Chide.
Your mic is muted.
Sorry, muted. Hi, Chide. How are you doing?
Hi. Oh, I'm doing great.
It's been a while, but then I got this bag for you.
Oh, thank you. Oh my God, stilettos. How did you know I didn't have one?
I just felt it. Like I've not really seen you wear much of it.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Modupe.
You're welcome.
Thank you. So now tell me, how did that feel?
Can I say liberating? Like having to just talk without giving him much.
Without thinking too much about it.
Yeah.
That's one of the ways to prepare for impromptu speaking. You can do this with your friend, your siblings. You can do this with yourself in the mirror. Just stand in front of the mirror, give yourself a gift, answer, and practice just speaking from your mind. Trust your brain. You have a smart brain. Allow it to do its thing. Remember, the technique for this is only one tab open. Don't think about what if I say the wrong thing. Don't think about, hey, what if they don't like what I say? Just let your brain do its thing. I think I'll skip this last bit. I was really looking forward to doing this last bit, which is a structure for impromptu pitching. So for maybe a business person or you have an idea, you want to know how to structure an impromptu speech in a very interesting way so that the other person listens, but it's fine. Olamide, we are almost at the end, right? I can take one or two questions before we call it a day.
Yes, yes. Yes, you can.
Anybody has a question, you can unmute your mic or you can type your question in the chat box. Do I call people's names? If you don't have a question, share what you learned. How about that? If you don't have a question, just type in the chat box what you learned from today's class. So I know we have Ayobami, you're in class. What did you learn? What question do you have? Esther Bassi, what did you learn? What question do you have? In Yolua, the two Inis. Ola, Akin, Modupe, Modupe has participated, so I can pardon you. Jayola, Babafemi, Precious, Bukumi, Paul. Paul is not only by winning games. What did you learn? What questions do you have? Oshiri, you have your hand raised. Please go ahead and ask.
Hi, thank you, Pastor Chidi, for the session. Yeah, I didn't have a question per se, but I had I wanted to share what I learned and just like even like speak here. And it's particularly what you were saying around what's it called now, like the how to structure a presentation, right? So like having in mind what you want your audience to learn, like what's the information you want to pass across, and then how you want them to feel, and then like finally what you want them to do next. And I think like when you were speaking, I just like noticed the pitfall that I that I usually like make when I'm making presentation, and I'm just like hyper focused on passing across information and not so much about how like the people should feel or what they should do next. And so like I think most of the time it just creates some kind of like monotony. That might be the reason behind like the monotony, like in my pace or my voice, because I'm just like trying to pass across the information and be done with it. But I think that's like having that framework in mind. Yeah, like that would be really helpful like going for all the presentations. Yeah.
Awesome, awesome. Thank you very much, Mashorire. I'll take Ayobami's question and then Oluwapelumi will speak, and that will be it, so that Olamide will not push me. Ayobami says, how do I get beyond being bothered about if what I'm saying is making sense or not? How do you get past it? Practice not thinking about it. And again, it's a matter of practice. See this improv we just did, practice it with yourself, practice it with someone, practice speaking to people. There is value in just standing in front of the mirror and having a conversation. Imagine the person on the other end is anybody, imagine anybody, and just stand there and have a conversation with the person. Hi, oh my goodness, I love your shoes. Oh, you got them from Marks and Spencer when you traveled. Nice, I've never been to the US, you know. Just have the conversation with that imaginary person standing right there. It's how you prepare for interviews. You prepare before you get into the interview, right? Even though when you get into the interview, it's not the questions you prepared with that they are asking you, because you have practiced answering those questions out loud. By the time they're asking you questions that are necessarily not the questions you practiced, you're more comfortable and confident about answering those questions. So practice. You can't quench or kill that part of your mind, or you can practice your way out of it having the upper hand. Oluwapelumi, please ask your question.
Hi, Miss Chide. Thank you very much for that. So my question is the part where you said about the pauses. So what if you get to a situation whereby probably you're implementing the pause and then you just blanked
God
out.
knows.
You just blanked, like everything just went off. So what do you do in that instance?
You let your audience know what's happening. I know that's not what you want to hear. That feels unnatural. That feels like, how will I let the audience know I have blanked out? That's the best thing you can do. When I was trying to remember the word Trojan horse, I could have just kept going, but I explained what I was trying to remember and you guys reminded me. Tell your audience, you will not believe what just happened, but I lost my train of thought just now. What was I saying just now? I was saying XYZ. Ah, there it is. If you try to do that in your brain, it can take you 1 full minute and you're still trying to do it. And there's the anxiety of, they are looking at me, what's going on? But speaking yourself through it, explaining to them what's happening in your head, I just, with a smile, don't act like the worst has happened. Act like I'm human and a human thing has happened to me. You will not believe I just lost my train of thought. Remind me, what was I saying? You probably can't even hear them if they remind you because it's a crowd. You will just be hearing noise. But you are doing that to engage them, to make them feel like they're a part of your process, to remembering where you were at. Remind me, what was I saying? You are not needing them to remind you. You are drawing from your brain. Then you go back to your last sentence and then pick from there. Now it feels like we are all in it together. It's not you on stage having a moment and them watching you have that moment. So I hope that helps. I will just answer this
Yes, it
last
does.
question
Thank you very much.
before I run off. You're welcome. How do I avoid
Oh
these
my.
filler? I want to say this. Filler words are not bad in themselves. Filler words in themselves are not bad. It is natural to say, it is natural to not remember and then say maybe once or twice. What is wrong or what is bad is when you have filler words in between every other sentence you say. And so rather than thinking about, I want to eliminate filler words completely, you will never hear filler words from my mouth. Think about, I want to be comfortable with pauses. I want to be comfortable with letting the audience know where I am. I want to be comfortable with being quiet for a few seconds in between, so that even if filler words show up, they will not show up as a bad thing. They will show up to make you human without becoming a crutch you are standing on in between every other sentence. I hope that helps. If you think about it, I'm sure you've heard me say once or twice throughout my speaking, or you've not heard it every other sentence. You've seen me use pauses, you've seen me slow down, you've not heard me say every other sentence. But filler words in themselves are not the problem. Thank you, guys.
Thank you so much, Chidi. I think that was a very insightful session. For me, I would say that I learned a lot when when we came up with the topic communication, right? I thought it would be things along the lines of, oh, how do you communicate passive, assertive, and all of these things that we've heard over and over. But seeing what you brought to the table, I think is very interesting. Talking about reading, talking about pauses, and you find that powerful speakers, these are actually things that they do. But I would have probably thought, oh, this is how this person speaks, not thinking that, oh, this is actually a strategy that can help me with my public speaking. And that's why we find ourselves hooked to spoken word artists, because they utilize all of these things, and it sounds like a lot of storytelling. It's very interesting. Oh, they raise their voice here, they reduce it here, they go fast here, they go slow here. It's just been a whole lot. So thank you so much. The chat box is going. Thank you so much. Thank you, Chidi. Thank you. I really, really hope that we can have you again, because I'm sure we didn't exhaust all of the things that you were going to teach us. So thank you for that. We are past time, or way past time. So if anybody has any question, we've dropped the link to the community earlier. So please join the community if you are not there. If you are there, you can send your question to any of the admins and we'll pass it right on to Chide. So thank you for joining us today. Have a lovely weekend and holiday, everyone. Bye.